Welcome to the Danville Area Community College Radio Show. We are very happy that you've taken the time out of your busy schedule to join us. Danville Area Community College is your community college. We have great things happening there, and we want to make sure that you know all about the good things going on at the college. One of the things that I do want to bring up is, remember, if you are a senior citizen, you get a greatly discounted opportunity to attend the college. My sister and I, since we were both 60 or older, I know, hard to believe, I'm right there with you, but we were actually able to take a class this summer, the Farm to Fork course. We only had to pay the fees, and so it ended up being around $88 to take the course, and it was great fun. Of course, we worked with Dana Wheeler and Amanda Krabby, learned lots of good things, and we were able to do that at that greatly discounted price. So just an FYI, that opportunity is available for you. Today we have Rachel Arnholt with us. She's been on this show before, and she's going to tell us about what's happening in her department and give us some good information. Rachel, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank
Glad to have you. You're welcome. So tell us about what you do at the college.
So I'm the Director of Sonography at DACC. So I am in charge of both echocardiography, which is ultrasound of the heart, and diagnostic medical sonography, which we teach for just general abdomen and OBGYN. And then we have our wonderful staff, here that helps teach those courses.
And, that's one of the there are lots of bright things happening at DACC, but I'm always very pleased with the caliber of people that we do get in the medical department, especially as a recipient of those services. I can't tell you the number of times that I've went to the doctor or the hospital or some of the different places, medical facilities, and I run into somebody that has on the DACC green, or somebody that we start talking about the college and, they've graduated from there. I'm happy to hear that because, again, these are my providers now.
Right. Yeah, it's such a rewarding field to get into, too, because, you work really hard and you learn the way of the sonography and all of the anatomy and all of the pathology. And then, it's nice that once you get into the field, you kind of feel the rewards of that. You're helping people, helping them figure out what's going on, in their life and their issues, and their health. And like when you are a sonographer, you really are the eyes for the doctor, sonographer or echocardiographer. You're really the eyes for the doctor. So when you find something for someone or you can prove that they're healthy, it really is just so rewarding. So I love whenever I get to be a part of the students getting into that field, but then also hearing and seeing a lot of our clinical affiliations have majority techs that graduated from our program, whether it was recent or way back when. So it's really cool to hear their stories of, I graduated, in whatever year and it was the best thing for me. And, I love to see both of those. So it's pretty cool.
So Rachel, when I think about DACC and the field that you all are working with, just the cost savings alone, if you were to try to do this at a four-year university, the cost would be astronomical. Talk about that.
Yeah, so it's funny that you bring it up because I went to SIU for my college, and I am like just now getting ready to finish off paying my student loans. And I've been out of the field of 10 years, so, and I paid ahead a lot too. And we try really hard to keep our, our students paying for what they get, making it worth it. And our program costs right now, they're going to be going up a little bit because we're adding classes. But really, because it's stretched out to over 5 semesters, you're not seeing that as like a heavier amount of tuition or cost per semester. It might even be less than what we have now. I don't have the numbers right in front of me currently, but they are located on the website.
hmm And, the cost savings definitely amazing. And there's nothing wrong with going to a 4-year university. But again, this is a comparison of apples to apples,
Oh
so to
yeah,
speak.
yeah, yeah. And you know what? I loved my education, but I don't think that unless I wanted to go into like healthcare management or, into that field, my bachelor's hasn't really done much for me. Um, as far as the field of ultrasound, and associates is what most techs have. And not even an associate, sometimes just a certificate. Obviously, our past graduates, most of those all have their certificate. We'll be moving forward with an associate. But yeah, it really has never done me any huge favors to have my bachelor's
hmm
degree. So this is a kind of a quick and easier way to do it. You only need the prereqs when we get to be an associate. You'll only need A&P, you'll need a math, a psych, and let me look at it. Well, A&P counts as 2. So those are the 4. Or physical science as well. I said psych, but physical science. And then as long as you get C's and those C's are higher, then you're eligible to apply for our associate's degree. So,
And I'm sorry,
sorry.
go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So it's just going to be much easier and more opening for the students who want to apply and get into this field.
So, Rachel, when I think about some of these very bright high school students that we have who are taking dual enrollment courses, that type of thing, and they're wanting to go in this type of field, it's something where they can even jump in and get some of that done ahead of time before they get to the actual college.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. And I actually just met with a high school student last week and, told her if you are serious about this, there's comp that you can dual credit. There's certain prereqs that you can absolutely get started on, just like you said, and then do these 4 required ones in a fall and spring, and then start in the summer with us in the program. So really it is set up really nicely to be beneficial for those students that are coming straight from high school.
Definitely. We'll talk about echocardiography. What is it
Mhm.
exactly, and how does it work?
So the way it works is the same as ultrasound, because it is just truly ultrasound that is specific to the heart. And Jamie Moreland is our echocardiography instructor. She's amazing. She is incredibly smart and so good at what she does. Her students rave about her. So the difference is that, like I said, you're just focusing on the heart and the great vessels, and they, measure the vessels. They give you a percentage of how much blood is pumping through the heart and at what rates. All those things are measured. And the echocardiography program is going to be also an associate's program. It's just not going to be, it'll only be 4 semesters rather than, whereas the DMS program will be 5. So because it's only specific to the heart, echocardiography, she has, a little bit less information to give than whenever I'm teaching about every single organ of the abdomen, or my other instructor, Danielle, is teaching all about OBGYN. So it's the work opportunity, the employment opportunity is very similar to the employment opportunities as diagnostic medical sonography. The growth rate in the field is also very similar, and the pay is also very similar. Both are at a median of about $83K a year. And that obviously isn't going to be, your first starting out pay, but your average pay. And like I said, you would have the same prereqs as DMS for echocardiography, and then they would go straight into a summer start and have intro to sonography, which, when we're talking about sonography in general, echocardiography is kind of grouped in with that, especially when we're just introducing behind, the history of sonography and the history of using sonar as a medical imaging tool. And then patient care is going to be a summer start, and intro to physics, which is what Jamie teaches. And then they would start in the fall with their normal course load for echo. So echo will be a summer start and a August finish. So they would go summer, fall, spring, summer, and then finish at the end of that last summer semester.
So are you taking applications for that? Is this an application process?
There is an application process. We have not yet updated the websites with the information for the associates programs, and applications are not yet open for that. However, I've been telling people with inquiries to check our website later this fall and into the winter, because we will have application deadline as March 15th. So there's just a couple, little hoops that we still have to jump through to get those things posted on our website, but definitely check back later this semester and during winter break to see if that's changed.
Okay. What about portability? Are these types of certifications or degrees portable throughout the U.S.?
Yes. So when you are registered to ARDMS, there's no like state licensure that you have to hold in order to scan elsewhere. So you can scan throughout the US with your ARDMS registry. Once you've graduated our program, then you will be eligible to sit for those boards and become a registered sonographer or echocardiographer.
So Rachel, do they have traveling positions? Like, we heard so much about traveling nurses these last few years. Are there traveling sonographers?
Oh, yes, and they make incredible money. They do. One of my students who graduated 2 years ago was from like the regional Chicago area, but was living here with her grandfather through school. And she was she's young, single. She could move wherever she wanted. And I told her, if I were you, I would keep your grandpa's address and then be a travel tech and live up in Chicago, where she really wanted to just live and move back to, because then she's getting all those benefits of being a travel tech. They typically pay for your housing, and they give you a stipend for groceries. They give you a stipend for mileage, typically, depending on where you're living and where you're working. And then just the hourly pay is typically more than the techs that are just, hired on with whatever facility they're working with. So being a travel tech is super beneficial if you have the time and can work it out with your personal life. And plus, you get to see really cool places. A lot of my friends have been travel techs, whether in nursing or x-ray or sonography, and they all mostly enjoyed being able to go to cool places. They go to Florida in the winter, like a snowbird, or Texas or Arizona. Like, so many of my friends have gone to such cool places. And then the other benefit of that is you're going to so many different places and you're experiencing the knowledge of so many different people. You're not just some people graduate and go straight to a clinic, which is totally fine, but then they're only learning from one or two people. And the amount of information and technique and knowledge you learn in your first 2 or 3 years out of school is insane, because you're being able to apply everything you learned in school to what you're physically doing for your career now. So traveling is a totally beneficial and valid option for any of our graduates.
Rachel, that sounds super exciting and fun to me.
Yeah.
So what about technology? Talk about some of the different technologies that are used in the program.
Mm-hmm. So we, this past summer, just got a brand new Philips Epic Elite machine. We now have 3 of those. So according to the Philips rep who came and sold us our machine, she told me that we have one of the better labs of any colleges that they usually supply or, sell to, or try to sell to, I should say. Most colleges do not have as good of equipment as we do. A lot of colleges are working with some older stuff, but those 3 Epic machines are amazing. We love them. They're great for both echo and general and OBGYN, which is why Jamie and I and Danielle, we all love them. We also have some really cool phantoms that our students can scan on to get, if they don't have a volunteer to scan, or, just the phantoms also include pathology. So a practice in scanning those phantoms to see some pathology that they may not see on their classmates or their volunteers. We have a new cardiac phantom, which allows them to kind of pump, like manually pump through blood flow so that you can see what it should look like in a heart. We have an OBGYN phantom, which has a 23-week fetus with all of the anatomy. So that is really super helpful. That's also a more recent purchase for the program. And we really have a great lab as far as technology goes.
Rachel, as you were sitting there talking about that, I can't help but think about the Foundation Honors Program that took place on Friday. And we are able to have such a fantastic facility with this type of technology because of amazing donors. Yes, grants, yes, institutional money pays for some of that. But, a large part of that comes from amazing donors in this area who have given back to the college, who want to make sure that a legacy is there, make sure that we're providing the best. So, a huge shout out to the donors who have donated to the DACC Foundation and made it possible to purchase technology like this and to fund student journeys, because many of those scholarships are going towards the healthcare area. So we certainly would want to take this moment to thank those contributors.
Absolutely. We literally would not have 3 machines without our founders and those donations. We would not have those phantoms for the same reason. So I second that.
Okay, Rachel. Well, we are actually out of time. So any last thing we want the public to know about the program?
Like I said, we just will be making those changes soon on the website. Keep an eye out. We're always looking for more students. Get those prereqs in and come see us.
Okay, good information. Audience, thank you for listening today. We certainly appreciate you. If you have more questions, you can call the college at 443-DACC. That's 443-3222. Or you can visit the website at dacc.edu. You can look up the programs and learn more about them. Again, thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another show.